selling boxes right now.
It was still a weird word. Now, I like that the word entrepreneur is much more prevalent now. And I think more people are gravitating to it because they kind of see it as the end that will eventually justify the means, right? It's like,
Yep.
you know, I toiled on Wall Street for years, right? I spent, I guess it was like, I think it was 8 years to the day from graduating college to working on Wall Street. Now, about 3 of those years, the last 3 years were kind of spent, like I was saying, with the whole music thing, finding my way out, right? Using every vacation day that I could to get out on the road, right?
Yep.
But, you know.
I think one of the things that with the term entrepreneur nowadays, I think it's thrown around a lot by people that don't really understand, what it takes to actually be able to call themselves an entrepreneur. I mean,
Right.
It's I think it's starting to lose a little bit of its buzz because I think a lot of people, they want to go into business for themselves or, be an entrepreneur, but they don't understand that to actually be successful or do anything even remotely to put your name on the map, you have to put the time and you have to grind from the second you open your eyes till you pass out, and not even climbing to bed, but until you pass out. I mean,
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot of people
Literally.
don't have
Right.
that.
Exactly. Right. Right. No, you're exactly right, dude. How many times have you passed out with the phone in your hand? Like in the middle of something.
Oh man, I usually let my phone die around 10 o'clock. I just let it die,
Okay.
and then I'm on the computer. But I go to bed with the computer every single night.
Like
Every
it's in your
single
lap. Like it's laying on
Yep.
top of you. Yeah.
7 days a week. That's how I go to bed.
Indeed, dude. Yeah. Every day is Saturday.
CEO or owner? How do you want to be referred to with Cool Suppliers?
Well, I mean, I don't like the title thing, so I just go with founder.
Founder.
Although I'm starting to become accustomed to the term CEO, but I'm not there yet, right? I think another year or two, I'll feel like, okay, I feel like I've earned this title, right? People who use the term CEO with me are more like, wow, Tim, you're starting to have CEO problems. So that is the only time really that my name and the term CEO are linked.
Right.
You
So tell us a little bit about Cool Suppliers.
Sure.
You do Iceys on your website. You talk about how it's so much fruit. They're kind of like frozen smoothies.
Right. Yeah, basically, we make an all-natural icy, right? We call it an icy because it is greater than 50% water, right? The other half of it is predominantly fruit. We add a little bit of natural cane sugar, although now with our newest offerings, we've completely taken the natural cane sugar out of it.
Right.
And then we use a plant. We use guar, actually, to kind of hold everything together. So it's super simple ingredients, we basically, it was like around 2012, 2013, we were kind of making these in the kitchen, kind of scooping them one scoop at a time down in Coney Island. All the New York City beachgoers would get off the train, walk to the beach, stop. We were selling them one scoop at a time. Just kind of then turned it into a little something of a business in the sense that we started putting them into a squeeze pop. I was at a trade show one time for amusement rides, actually, and Minute Maid had a squeeze pop. And I was like, you know what, that's exactly what I want to do, because it's it's got so much room on the package to design and give you the feel. I mean, you're a graphic designer, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like a really nice graphic design really grabs you, right? Makes you feel good, right? So I always wanted that because I knew I could make something dope because I was making good product already. Like that summer in Coney Island, I mean, the lines were all day long, right? It was like from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. I literally learned how to scoop with both hands, right, in order to kind of get it going, right? And, but I always knew that when they walked away with that white cup in their hand, like there was no way to distinguish what I was doing versus what anybody else was doing. Right. So when I saw that squeeze tube, I was like, that's it, right? So essentially what we are is really kind of like some frozen fruit, but the way we blend it and flash freeze it, it gives it a smoother texture. So what winds up happening is it's got a smoothie-like taste. So that's why we say that.
Very nice.
Oh, indeed, dude. They're delicious, man. Delicious. We keep them running back, man. We keep them running back.
Where'd you come up with the idea to do the Iceys?
Basically, I was with friends. We were when I grew up, right? I had a friend of mine had like an ice cream store, right? I got involved in the ice cream store, so I started to learn a little bit about the frozen treat business. I learned enough to know that don't ever own an ice cream store. I mean, I got absolutely torched, lost just about everything that I had. So I kind of went with my tail between my legs to Brooklyn and was like, all right, I kind of like that business, but I really didn't like what I was doing or how I was doing it because all I did was lose money, right? Because when you own an ice cream store, you have to get people to come to you, right? And if you look at it, frozen treats are everywhere. They're at the ice cream store. They're at the Five and Dime, right? They're at the corner store. They're at the grocery store. They're at the Starbucks. They're at, any different place where you could purchase something. There's a frozen section, right? So there's so much competition for that, for the ability to cool, right? So I was like, I kind of like that. So took a little bit of time to kind of gather myself, figure things out. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try making my own stuff. So I started making my own stuff, and I was like, all right, let me find some place to try to test this out. And that's where Coney Island came in. Brought it down to Coney Island, had a little freezer, set it up, and every day just tested it out, and people were loving it. And I was selling it $1 a scoop. And, New York City, mega opinionated people, right? Yeah, yep. So all they were doing every day was giving me their opinion. They're like, yo, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. So basically what I started to do was just listen to what my test kitchen was telling me, AKA New York City. And I refined it. Then people started saying, you got to put these in stores. And that's when I saw that winter, I was at this trade show, and I saw the squeeze pop, and I was like, you know what? That's it. That's it. Nice. So, and that was it, man. Started putting the squeeze pops in 2014. We did a little crowdfunder for a van. Raised like $5,000 from family and friends, and bought a van, and worked all winter long. I was working at BJ's Wholesale Club, and I was doing some consulting for an amusement group, and I was just saving every dollar I had, right? Couple that with a couple dollars, like I said, from the families and friends, and we got the van, and I made my first batch, right? We made 100,000 units, and it showed up in like an 18-wheeler, right? Wow. And yeah, they opened up the back of the 18-wheeler, and there were like 15 pallets of product. And I was like, oh my God, wow, what have I done, right? At the same token, I was like, all right, this cost me this much. I'm going to go out and sell it for this much. Hopefully I can make my money back, right? And, that's just what I did. On April 17th, 2014, I started selling into stores. By the end of 2014, I was in 500 or 600 stores just in Brooklyn. All I wanted was Brooklyn, and that's what I did.
Wow.
every week or two, I'd go back to the stores, and it would blow my mind when I would look in the freezer and the product would be gone. And I'd almost be like, I asked the guy behind the counter, I'd be like, yo, dude, you're kind of out of the Iceys. And he'd be like, yeah, man, you need to come around faster, bro. People like them. I was like, wow, this is really working, right? And even at that point, I still didn't believe, right? I was still like, this is, because, you make it, you believe in the sense that you're like, I know that I can do this. I know that I can make something, and I will sell it because I have work ethic, right? I will make that happen. But the really thing that you don't know is how are people going to perceive it, right? So that was the great equalizer, where I was like, oh my God, people are actually buying this stuff that I am selling. Because I said, you know what? If I have to, I will sell all day long, all summer long. I will sell all 15 of these pallets, and I will at least get back the money that I put into this. I am not going to go broke here, right? That's what I knew. But when the product started to sell, and I was like, wow, this is really starting to move, then I knew I had something.
Very nice. So what habits or what mindset has helped you move along and be successful in what you're doing?
The simple fundamental is never quit, and you don't go home until the job is done, right?
Absolutely.
It's kind of like when people say, like, well, if you woke up broke, why the hell did you go to bed? Right?
Yep.
It's like, so that's kind of the idea that I have, right? I'm like, you know what? Again, I have that work ethic, and I am not going to quit. I am always going to find the way, right? I will figure out what's going on, and I will assess it, and I will break it down 1,000,000 times, and I will shatter it, and I will look at it and rearrange the pieces and be like, all right, that's it. And when I figure it out, I just go, right? I go. I start early. I go late. If I have to take a break, it's only to drink some water. I grab, I go, I just push. Because, not only am I focused, but at the end of the day, I absolutely love what I am doing. I don't ever wake up kind of dreading having to do something, right? Even the stuff that's rough, difficult, unhappy, tricky, stressful, I enjoy, in the sense that I know that it makes a difference based upon what I'm doing now. It could be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but what I'm doing is going to have material impact on what happens in the future.
Right.
Because I know I control my own destiny in that sense. So it's never quit, always find the way. Those are the two big pieces, right? But also knowing myself and knowing that I am just going to go.
Absolutely, that's awesome. I think there's a ton of value in what you just said, and the viewers watching this video, if you're watching this video, I definitely think you need to get a pen out and rewind this video and jot down with everything that he just said. So, Timmy, how do you define success? How do you know? At what point can you sit back and say, I made it, I'm successful? How do you define success?
Well, I think that's going to be an ever-changing thing, because I think you're probably just like me in the sense that you're like, all right, you hit one level and you're like, all right, I want the next one. 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 Right? So it's like, I don't know if you'll ever feel successful in the sense that, that you'll feel complete, right? Or finished. Like, I don't know if the job will ever be finished, in the sense that I want to get into every single freezer on planet Earth, right?
Right.
So if I'm in every single freezer on planet Earth, then maybe I can sit there and say, okay, the job is done. I've succeeded, right? That's an ambitious goal, right? Along the way, there will be, and there are, little steps where you're like, you know what? Nice. I made it. For the first year, it was sell that whole truck, right? At the end of the first year, I was like, I was successful. I sold the whole truck. Now I sell a whole truck every month, right? And it's funny because I'm like, okay, I set my goals for 2017. When I set my goals, I looked at it and I said, all right, I want to hit a certain number. And then this past month, I was like, wow, we had our biggest month ever. And then I thought for a second, and I'm like, well, but wait a minute. For me to hit my goal, I need to have that big a month every single month from here on out, right? So it's like, whoa, I can't let down, you know? So, but that's exciting, right? That's exciting, you know? So, but look, ultimately, happiness, bro. I'm successful every day because I'm happy, right? Nice. It's like I spent 8 years on Wall Street. Okay, I made great money, okay? I made great money, but I was miserable. I used to have to hit snooze I used to have to hit snooze multiple times on my alarm clock. I was like, I do not want to get out of bed. I do not want to put that suit on. I do not want to go into that office. I do not want to talk to people about finance. I don't want to do it. But I did it every single day, and I hated it from start to finish, and I did it for 8 years, right? Wow. Yeah. Money is a funny thing, right? Money is a funny thing. And you know what? If there's one regret or one thing that I wish I could take back in life, is those 8 years. I wish I could have those 8 years back. Now, don't get me wrong. I learned a lot, and there's a lot that I learned in that I apply every day in my life. But if I was able to do it all again, if I could reprogram those 8 years into really doing something for myself, because Morgan Stanley used to tell me, oh, you're in business for yourself. But I really wasn't, right? I really, really wasn't. Because they also had a contract that told me that they could take it away from me at any time.
Right. Yep.
So,
absolutely.
But don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They're a wonderful organization. And there's also something to be said for not having to hold all of the balls in your hand. As the owner or the shot caller, the CEO, whatever you want to say, everything falls on your shoulders, right? When I was working at Morgan Stanley, I was in business for myself, but because what I did not materially impact necessarily keeping the lights on at the company could then dictate what happened if they decided or they made a decision that, you know what, we don't want you around anymore. That decision could get made, right?
Right.
But now I'm in a position where no one could ever make that decision for me.
Now, for the viewers that are watching this video, and the people that are looking at trying to start a business, they want to get into some business, maybe they're scared, maybe they just don't know which direction to take, where to start. What would be the best advice that you can give to someone starting out?
Okay, this is really, really simple, right? What do you absolutely love to do, right? Think about what it is that you love to do, and then look at that, study that, and find a way to make that into a business, right? Now, I didn't love to make squeeze pops, okay? But I love to move around, ultimately, at the core. Like when I was a rapper and I was touring, I used to love the moving around. The shows were cool. Like that was fun. Expressing myself was fun. Being in the studio was fun, you know? But it was really the touring. It was seeing things. It was interacting with new people. I was like, you know, I want to constantly be able to move around. I want to be able to see things. And I also know that I want to be in control of my own destiny, right?
Right.
And I like to sell, right? I like to sell things, right? So I was like, okay, those are the core things that I knew I liked to do, right? Then it was a matter of finding something that fits those passions, that traveling passion, that selling things, that interacting with the public. You know, it's finding those things to kind of hone in on that real, genuine passion and turning that into a business. Because you can really find a way to make money at anything if you really study it, right? Yeah. You got to study it, right? Even people who tell me, like musicians, rappers, bands, who are like, oh, you can't make money. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just got to look at it. You got to figure it out. Right. Find the way, right? That's what it always comes back to. Find the way, because you can.
Yep, absolutely. Now I know we're running out of time here. So, is there anything that you want to tell the viewers of this video? And in closing, is there anything that you just want to put out there?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Simple. Go for it. Right? Yeah. Like if you're sitting there in the back, if there's a tick in the back of your brain that's sitting there saying, you know what, maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I should, just go for it. Because ultimately you really have nothing to lose except for everything, right? And if you can fundamentally look at it and say, all right, you know what, worst case scenario, I lose everything, and what I got to do is go hop on a cruise ship and teach old folks how to karaoke and send home the money to pay the bills that I've created, that this business has now destroyed, then you know what? Do it.
Yep.
Do it.
Absolutely. And man, you really gave a lot of insight and a lot of real valuable information. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the call with me.
Indeed, brother. Indeed.
Cool Suppliers, coolsuppliers.com, right?
Yep,
and,
that's right.
You're going to be at Warped Tour this year?
Yep, Vans Warped Tour will be in 41 cities in 60 days. You can now cop our all-natural Iceys in about 25 different states, roughly 10,000 different locations, mostly convenience stores. So if you live in proximity of a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven or something like that, please walk into that store and say, hey, you got those all-natural Iceys? You got them Iceys yet? The ones from the Cool Suppliers. Because that helps, right? Because we got the distribution game going now. And, if you're starting to call for it, we can help these distributors make sure those calls are answered.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Timmy. Really appreciate you coming on the call with me, and we'll be in touch, and best of luck with everything.
Yo, brother, I appreciate you too, man. You got me thinking, dude. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And if there's anything I can do to help you out, man, don't hesitate to reach out and ask, how to get in touch with me.
Yo, careful what you ask for, homie.
Hey, Timmy, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it, brother.
My dude. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, man.
Peace.
Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you found a ton of value in it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you know when I post a new video. Until then, have a good one.